So I just finished watching the mid-season finale of Invincible, and while I still like the show overall and I like where it's going, I just feel like it's not living up to my expectations, you know? Like, I feel kind of disappointed a little. I don't know about you guys, but I just feel like there's like a lack of tension throughout the show. Like, something about the pacing is a little bit off. Because what made the first season so magical was the underlying threat that was Omni-Man. Watching how the characters slowly figure out the truth of Omni-Man and watching how they navigate the constant threat that is his presence, that was super interesting. And that intrigue was what carried the show for me because of that constant tension it created. But now in this season, that's like basically gone. Now in this season, we're just watching the characters slowly go about and live their lives. Now their conflict is internal and it's dealing with the aftermath of what happened, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, you know? But I do think the problem is their inner conflict is a little obvious and kind of drawn out. For example, with Mark, his inner conflict is, you know, oh yeah, you're not your dad, you're your own person, you know, you're not responsible for all the deaths that you guys caused in your battle. And for Debbie, is the whole grief thing and trying to get over the loss of a loved one, blah, 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 blah. And yes, while I understand that, like, you know, in real life, these issues would take a long ass time to resolve, in a TV show where we're only getting like 8 episodes per season, and then we'd have to wait like years for the next installment, we don't need 2 whole episodes dedicated to this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not entertaining to have these characters have all this screen time and have them just spend it moaning about their problems. Okay, imagine if Debbie got like 1 episode where she, you know, moans and grieves because, you know, of course, rightfully so. Like, her whole world has basically been turned upside down. But then, instead of spending the next episode still grieving about it, she actually does something active. I don't know, maybe she tries to do something useful out of her grief and, you know, she starts interacting with everyone who was affected by that Mark versus Omni-Man battle that killed so many people. And maybe she, you know, starts a charity fund or a charity organization to help like all victims of supervillain slash superhero conflict, you know? And maybe she starts gaining popularity. Maybe she runs for president or something. I don't know. The point is, I just feel like they're not spending their time wisely. The pacing just feels really slow. And not to mention the whole multiverse mess that they created. Now, to be fair, I was never a fan of, you know, multiverse stuff. Like, I feel like the only series that's ever done multiverse things correctly is the Spider-Verse, the animated one. It's just that I think it makes things just so messy. And I'm worried how they're going to incorporate this multiverse plotline into what I think is already like an interesting, dense story. Like, the main conflict between Viltrumites and Mark and Nolan and the Guardians of the Globe, that's already all interesting enough. Not even counting the emotional weight attributed to that conflict. Like, that's already jam-packed enough. Like, we don't need a multiverse to further complicate things. As of right now, after the mid-season finale, I can see the show starting to pick up a lot from here, because just like with the first season, we now have that looming threat that is the Viltrumites and their invasion of Earth. Just like how in season 1, the looming threat was Omni-Man. Now we have something else to beat that threat. And I am excited for that, but I just worry about the multiverse stuff and if the pacing is still going to stall from here on out. Like, we've already seen the first half of the season already. Like, we're already halfway done with the second season. And I don't know about you, but I feel like nothing much has happened. Like, I feel like there's a lot of setup, and that's good. I feel like there's like a lot of emotional setup. We know what each character is dealing with. It just feels very slow and uninteresting because we know the end result of these inner conflicts already. You know what I mean? Like, we know Mark is gonna get over his whole thing, like, I'm not my dad, I'm my own person, and know that that's the lesson he's gonna learn. And we know that Debbie is eventually going to, you know, get over the loss. It's just a matter of time. So like, it's just not interesting. And I wish they just sped it up a little bit, like, you know, do a time jump, do something, and get us into like more interesting stuff. And I'm glad that that's happening now. I'm glad that, you know, we now have the Viltrumite invasion to be that constant threat that we're missing. But yeah, I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. I'm still a huge fan of the show. It's just, I feel like season 1 is just a lot better. Like, at this point in season 1, I was like super hooked and excited to watch the next episode. Now I'm just, you know, I'm just chill. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. Bye.